Hi guys, how are you today? I hope you guys are having a great day, night, wherever you are. I just want to get into the World Tour Finals, review the final and just the tournament more generally. And I hope you guys are going to enjoy the video. So, what did you guys think about the final? Leave a comment, respond in the chat, let me know. Medvedev is the champion. So, what do you guys think about that one? I predicted it too. I said it would be Medvedev in 3 sets, and there we are. Medvedev's won in 3 sets. And my semi-final prediction, I said Thiem over Djokovic. I said 2 close sets, so that was a third set. I also said Nadal would beat Medvedev in the semi-finals. I got that wrong, but I felt like because of the matchup with Nadal against Medvedev, like Nadal has the forehand where he can hit and get more and more short balls and get through Medvedev's defense. The matchup was good because Nadal was quite far from his best. Medvedev was really at his top level, and then still Nadal had a chance to serve for the set. That would have been like the worst court for Nadal to beat Medvedev, and Medvedev's ideal court, fast, low bouncy, yet still Nadal served for the set and had a bad sort of game. So really, with this matchup suiting Nadal, as for why I predicted him, everything needs to go right for Medvedev for him to win, and it did. He was at his top level. Nadal even serving for it throws in a bad game. Looks tired at the end of the third set. But yeah, basically that's what happened. We had Medvedev at his best level, Nadal not his worst, but on his lower levels. The worst sort of court surface for Nadal, the best for Medvedev. Still Nadal because of the matchup serving it out, but even then he's given it away. And Medvedev winning, and that was the closest Medvedev went to losing in the tournament. And I say that this eventuated because Nadal's matchup is really good. Medvedev wants to just keep the ball on the court consistent, give no errors, and then but then if you're someone like Nadal with the time to set up on the forehand, and then you get a shorter ball, and then you go for more, and then you get another ball even shorter until you end it, you need to hit the ball fast through the court and take Nadal's time to run around and set up on those big forehands. But that's not really Medvedev's game, so he's going to have to hit it harder, flatter, take risks to take his time away. And that's what allowed Nadal on his worst surface and probably Medvedev's best, why Medvedev's at his top level, to get so close. And if Nadal wasn't that off, he would have won because of the matchup. But the matchup's not going to matter if you're at your when you're on your worst surface. You need to be playing near your top level. Nadal simply wasn't, so Medvedev won that. Thiem and Djokovic, it was kind of sort of up and down in that match. Thiem is always, they both like to get in long rallies. Thiem's always going to overpower Djokovic. He has it at his mercy. But Djokovic's hopes that he can just return his serve, play good defense consistently, and hope that Thiem's going to go for too much. So that's what he wants to do. And then Thiem was up and down. Sometimes he was just overpowering Djokovic. Other times he was making the errors. And that 50-50 took it all the way to the end, where it was 4 points to 0 in the tiebreak for Djokovic. But then in the end, Thiem just gets hot at the end. So it was about Thiem being hot and cold. Is he more hot than cold? And he was more hot, so he wins that in a close one. He could have won it in the 2 close straight sets that I predicted if he wasn't as hot and cold as he was. But he was just hot enough to get through that one. But as far as the final, I would say the tournament review that I wanted to do, I would say Thiem was up and down. First match against Tsitsipas, up and down. Second against Nadal, basically he's on at his best level the entire time. Third match, he's back to off against Rublev. Then semi-final, he's on and off. Final, he was sort of on and off, but more on. So, I mean, he just wasn't quite consistent enough to get the win here. but if he played the way he did against Nadal, he would have won the tournament every match, but he couldn't repeat that. Nadal's tournament, I would say he was on and off. The first match against Rublev, he came out quite really good. This new serve that he's improved the last 2 years, that was there, the 1-2 punch. Whenever he had a chance to return, get in the rallies, be aggressive, attacking the second serve, and then Nadal serving well the first and second serve to the forehand behind that. That's his key, and willing to take a risk that you may hit an error and go for the opponent's second serve. That was all there in the Rublev match. Second match, it was all there against Thiem basically, but his level dropped a bit at important times. But I felt like after that loss to Thiem, Nadal's level dropped because he was up and down, gave away a bad service game, was just hot and cold against Tsitsipas, but was just good enough to get through that with the experience. But then being hot and cold, sort of like that kind of level against Medvedev. Like I said, because the matchup suits him, that's why I predicted him. He almost won. But, trying to play a guy against Medvedev at his best level when you're up and down and it's where your worst surface, it's not going to happen. So that happened to Nadal. I felt like like the end of the first set, the second half, he was at a good level there. But then the second set, he had like 2 random bad service games that you just threw away. I mean, you can't expect the start of the set and the end, and then had that one long juice game in the third set. Medvedev hit a lot of good shots, but he gave it away a lot. And then right at the end of the match, throws in another bad service game. So you can't do all that. So Medvedev wins that. I felt like Medvedev's tournament was really, great the whole way through. He won Paris and it just continued here. Took a match to warm up, I would say. He was on and off against Zverev, but Zverev was too. He was a bit more on than Zverev, so he gets that in straight sets. Then an extreme high level against Djokovic and against Schwartzman and against Nadal, with the exception of maybe the end of the first set, but still that was more Nadal at a high level. So he's had a really good tournament. Djokovic, he was really off against Medvedev. He was probably his best against Thiem in the semi-finals, but still quite average. Against Schwartzman, he played a decent match. And then sort of very average against the Rev. So I would say an average tournament for him. I said Thiem was on and off. Nadal was on and off. Medvedev was the one that was sort of playing well all the time. Zverev, I would say he was quite on and off. As Tsitsipas sort of was hot and cold. Rublev played poorly his first 2 matches and great the last match. Schwartzman, I would say he was at his lowest level for all 3 matches and as a result lost all 3 there. So now let's get into the preview solely for the final of the tournament. And I just felt like, Thiem, when he plays against a player with great defense like Medvedev, he tends to go for too much and make errors. He did that some of the time, but he also played quite well. Most of the game, it was a situation where Thiem was just serving well, and it was enough to get short balls of his big forehand, and that was enough for him to constantly hold serve despite not playing great. But then against Medvedev, when Medvedev's getting 3 points and starting his points ahead and on a fast court, you don't have time to set up for the big forehands and backhands. So when someone else is in control, the ball's getting through your defenses. It's taking time away from your big forehand and backhand. So Medvedev was always able to do that on his serve, but then Thiem was serving well enough to get short balls. And with all that time to set up, hit big forehands, backhands, control the point. Even with Medvedev's defense, he wasn't able to turn enough of those rallies around to sort of get breaks. So basically, the serve dominated. They used their serve to start the point. They were aggressive behind that, and then no one in defence was able to turn it around. As a result, we saw only 1 break of serve each. The break of Medvedev's serve was due to he just dropped and sort of gave it away there. Then he couldn't break Thiem back, as I said, because Thiem's serve was always good enough to get short balls. And with that time to set up the huge forehand and backhand, it's extremely difficult to win more points against him. So he wasn't able to do it. The second set, Medvedev sort of lost confidence, gave a few break points away, and this was Thiem's chance to win the match in the second set. Wasn't able to convert. Medvedev sort of just continues to scrape through there. And then I would say in the tiebreaker, Medvedev really looked to control it. Like he was down 2-0. He wins 7 points in a row. You see he's moving around and coming into the net for 2-1. Second point, he's moving Thiem around, stretching him out wide. And like I said, he's used to the clay, doesn't have the time, makes an error. Then he gets an ace for 3-2 and then really attacks the second serve of Thiem and takes his time away, and that's 4-2. Moves him out, stretches him out again. He's attacking, controlling the point, taking Thiem's time away, forcing him into an error. That's 5-2. Sort of the serve 1-2 punch, stretching Thiem out again for 6-2, and then the ace for 7-2. So that was like basically attacking, controlling the point, taking Thiem's time away. We get into the sort of third set. Thiem was making a lot of errors, but just like I said, just getting enough big serves to get enough short balls to get 3 points and get 1-2 punches and get out of it despite not playing well. Eventually that ran out because we saw a point when huge point in the game, Thiem was broken, where what happened there was Thiem was just in complete control, hit a huge powerful shot. He's coming to the net to finish. Medvedev hits an amazing shot on the run that's low, and then he's able to sort of pass him back on the next shot. He's moving Thiem around a lot in this game, forcing a lot of errors. Thiem's just tired and going for too much and try to end the point. And then the break finally happens for Medvedev when he sort of attacks, hits the ball flat and deep, and comes into the net to finish it off. So gets the break and then just uses the serve, 3 points, complete control, short balls. When he's attacking Thiem in a defensive position, he can't turn it around because the court's too fast, and he's not good at defending when the ball's traveling quickly on a quick court. The only thing you can do on a quick court is have this big serve to get short balls and then get the time. But when Medvedev's getting a short ball, he's getting it through. He's taking Thiem's time away. He can't play the defense that he wants to. He can't turn defense into offense. So as soon as he's behind at the point, he won't recover. Medvedev just did that and got 3 points, or his serve wasn't coming back, and finishes off the match. And basically, it was always about the serve +1 or 2 or 3, and then the server controlling it. But whenever Medvedev was in that position, Thiem's time was taken. He'd get through his defense. He could never turn it around. He was moving Thiem around. Thiem got exhausted. Thiem, to try to stop the exhaustion, wanted to bail out of these long rallies, hit low percentage shots, go for errors. But what kept the match close was Thiem serving great and getting short balls and constantly being able to hold serve. And then all he has to do with all the time in the world, throw in a big forehand backhand, not much risk. It's just putting away a short ball, set up by the serve. That's what kept it close. But in the end, Medvedev was too well-rounded, too good for him, was able to get the ball through Thiem's defense, always have him running, and not allow him to have time to set up for the big forehands and backhands, and really exhaust Thiem and force him to bail out and end the rallies with huge, powerful shots at a low percentage of, at a high percentage of risk, but low percentage shots as far as winning the point. So really, when it comes down to it, Medvedev was just the better player the whole tournament, and Paris and London, and he was the only one who had no real ups and downs in the tournament. Possibly slight down the second half of the first set in the semi-final against Nadal. But other than that, and then the first match against Zverev where he was up and down, but so was Zverev, but he was a bit more up than Zverev. But that was just sort of because he had a week off from London to Paris, getting his game back, taking a match to get it back, which he did. But other than that, he was just hot the whole tournament, played great. Even against Nadal, a guy who's the matchup suits Nadal by his level, and the court that suits him was enough to get through that. And similar, like he's playing against Thiem, a guy who likes the clay, taking the time away. It's really well. If he didn't serve well, Thiem could have got in long rallies and possibly had more time to set up for those big shots. And there could have been a lot of pressure on Medvedev. But he never let Thiem ever get time on his service game. The one break, it was his game just possibly losing concentration. But I really feel like Medvedev has a great future now. He's been the champion here. We saw the World Tour finals. The 2018 champion Zverev, and people thought that's a big breakthrough in his career. He'll do great things the next year. He never did that. Same with Tsitsipas, won this in 2019, had a bad year in 2020. So whoever's won this, people have expected this is a young guy breaking through. Great year next year. Hasn't happened. 2017, I'm not sure who won, Jack Sock or someone, whoever it was. They never had a good year the next year. So it's been a number of years. Winning this has almost been a curse for the following year. But I say Medvedev, really, I just felt like him and Thiem are the next big thing in this game. They proved that it's a clear top four now with Djokovic and Nadal, and Federer's down to 5, and being almost 40, coming back from a year behind these four guys, he's a long way back. So I just felt like when you look at Thiem and Medvedev, these new guys who are better than Federer and really almost getting on a par of Djokovic and Nadal. Thiem is 28, so he can be there for a couple of years and do this. But Medvedev's at only 23. He's got a long time to really say this is his great future. It's not like Tsitsipas or Zverev where it kind of came out of nowhere. Like last year in 2019, he went on an amazing run and he almost won the US Open, and Nadal had to play his absolute best to scrape for in a fifth set. So he's been close to a Grand Slam already before this. He went for a period of being in 6 finals in a row and winning 3 tournaments over the US summer through to Shanghai. Hasn't got it back, but here in Paris and London, so it's a second sort of wave of this level of form. There may be times where he's not at his best, like those 2 periods, but this is the second time, and I really think he's basically another Djokovic, a taller version of Djokovic with a better serve. This whole thing where we've seen Murray, Nadal, and Djokovic, this style of play, where you're not a big guy who just goes for it and takes risk and can't play with any consistency and doesn't have fitness and can't stay in it. Or the ralliers who are just baseliners with no power, and like a Ferrer style where you just get the ball back on the court and play great defense and hope your opponent make errors. But Nadal, Djokovic, and Murray, what they've had is they've got the consistency of the baseline, not giving away any errors, great speed and return of serve, but not a Ferrer with no power. You're a baseliner, but with power, and you can move your opponent around. This level is very hard because you're either a power guy who makes lots of errors or a baseliner without power. To be a baseliner but with power and to move your opponent around and to be a sort of typical rallier baseliner, but to do it with power and you're not taking any risks, you can move your opponent away, control the rally. And then when you're in defense, you can turn defense into offense and then control the rally. To be a baseliner with great speed and defense plus power to control those rallies. This is something you've seen from Nadal, Djokovic, and Murray, and we haven't really seen that much. Agassi did it, but he didn't have this speed and this defense. So to have this defense, speed, and then power in the rallies, it's something that, like, if you don't have it, you can't really compete with it. Even Federer can't compete with these guys with the rallies. And Medvedev has that factor that what's made Djokovic and Nadal's career so successful. He has amazing defense, amazing consistency, he won't miss, but he also has power where he can control the rallies and push you around and make each ball shorter until you end the point. But when he's on defense, it's hard to end it. He'll give you away nothing. So he's basically like Djokovic and Nadal, more like Djokovic with a bigger serve. And then if somehow you're going for the power game and you just say, I don't want to get in rallies with Medvedev, I'm going to take risks and end it, Medvedev can suddenly become like a Joe Wilfred Songa or a Burdage or a Del Potro, not on the forehand as Del Potro, but just I'm going to be this big tall guy with a huge serve and go for it, and I'm going to go back at you. I'm going to play maybe even a Kyrgios style. That's not his game, but if his rallying game is overpowered, you take his time away, you don't let him get in a rally, he can have a go with you. He can say, I'll be a tall power guy right back at you because you're not even letting me get in rallies. So those big guys, when they get hot, he has his plan B to go to. He's improved even his net play. Um, so I just basically see him as a Novak Djokovic at his sort of peak when he was about 23, but with a bigger serve and taller. And if he needs to turn off that power game and take risks, he can do it too. So that's what I see, and I've only seen this in Murray, Nadal, and Djokovic with the great defense, the turning defense into offense, consistency on the rally, but be able to have enough power to push your opponent away and hit through them on the rallies. So to have all that, I see that in Medvedev, and I see that plus a big serve. So he could sort of do what Nadal and Djokovic, but have a better serve than them. So, I mean, we could see something amazing in his career, but it all depends on a lot of players have potential and don't fulfill. The mental side of the game, Nadal, Djokovic, Federer, and under pressure, that's another part. So they've got the game and Medvedev's got it too. But because tennis is decided by 1 or 2 points and you can win more points and lose, if he has the same ability and talent as Nadal, Federer, Djokovic, but they're better, they can win on the big points and they can win under pressure, but he doesn't have that side of his game, then he'll just be as talented as them, but not the same career. But if he can get really that mental side, he has the ability to have a similar career than what they've had. Only starting a bit late because he's 23. But that's all he is. The mental side and being great under pressure and the experience, that's the only thing separating him from having a similar career than, say, Djokovic. But I say he's going to be able to do it. I'm not saying he's going to get 17 to 20 Grand Slams because he's already 23. But if he's able to have the same mental, like consistency, always there, and great under the pressure moments and always bring the best out of him, you could see 12, 15, 16 Grand Slams. But if mentally he's not, doesn't have the same mentality as them under pressure, you could only get maybe 1, 2, or 3. But the potential is amazing for his career, and I think he's going to be the next big thing. Him and Thiem, but Thiem's only going to be there at that level for a few years. He's going to be there for 10 years. So great things come in his career, but like I said, he sometimes gets distracted by things and sort of gets all angry and loses his mentality and goes away for a couple of months and loses in first rounds. And so he can't do that. He needs to be like he did the North American summer for Shanghai in 2019 and Paris and London here in 2020. If so, he can be like an enhanced version of Djokovic. Djokovic with a huge serve. Djokovic, if you're overpowering him in the rallies because you're a big guy, he can also turn into a Kyrgios type under that situation. So I just see great things. But like I said, you can start next year and then it can all be like, well, I'm a champion of that big tournament. Too much pressure, expectation, never be the same again. No matter how good you are, that's a potential. But I'm going to say he's going to do it. He may have one more year next year where he's up and down, but the following year, he could be like a Djokovic Nadal type for another 8 years after that. Possibly even next year, but it may take another year of sort of ups and downs before he gets there. But yeah, that's my wrap up on the tournament. Great things for Medvedev. I see Nadal. I see what we've seen is Federer, as he's got older, being a clear third guy behind Nadal and Djokovic. Nadal and Djokovic can't really be challenged by anyone. Now I see Thiem and Medvedev taking over Federer and really sort of pushing the envelope on where Nadal and Djokovic and a new big four for the next year or two. Maybe after the next 2 years, you'll see Nadal and Djokovic get older, but I see this top four of Thiem, Medvedev, Nadal and Djokovic really being there, and then Federer coming back as almost a 40-year-old after a year off the game, really a long way behind these guys and a clear fifth. But that's the way I see it as we end the year. I'm going to do a review of the whole 2020 season, which was a short season, but I'm going to do a review of that, and I'm going to preview 2021. With these four guys and Federer coming back and possibly a big five now too, Federer will be a long way behind these guys when he comes back after a year out at this level, and then Medvedev and Thiem reaching such a high level. So for a 40-year-old to come back and challenge them right away, but if he can get his game to somewhere near his best, he won't get all the way like a 25-year-old. Then we could be looking at a big five scenario instead of a big four, having five players playing great at once. So, but yeah, I'm going to get into the 2021 preview, and I'm also going to get into a review of the shortened 2020 season. I've got an interview of Roger Federer over the off season. And I've got so much. I was just at the Australian Open today, Melbourne Park. I saw they're actually building the courts, so I was watching them put the new courts in. So if people are wondering if the Australian Open was on, they're relaying the new courts for the 2021 tournament these last few days. They're actually just sort of, I think today was the last day they were doing that. So I was actually there and saw. I might go there tomorrow and make a video so you can see the new courts they're building at the Australian Open. I'm also going to make a video possibly tomorrow or the next day. They're going to announce when the Australian Open on. Is it on the date? Is it delayed? How are they going to do it with the 2 weeks quarantine? Like I said, interview of Federer, review of this season, preview of the next one. I'm going to go over tactics of all the different matchups like Nadal and Djokovic and being specific on different surfaces, what they need to do, what they've done right and wrong in the past, and just so much. So just, you're going to love your subscription. Please subscribe, bell notification, thumbs up, do all of that stuff, and enjoy your day and week. And look out for my next videos, and your subscription, you'll love it. Okay, bye for now. Bye then.